Okay, this is the part 2 video for the kayak rack build with the Playfort. So this one we're talking about the Playfort since the video 1 showed you how to build a kayak rack. I built this because I got a lot of kids and they love to climbing on things, so I thought this would be perfect for them. So we'll go over the flooring, the railing, and that rope braid, how to do it. So first step was to go back to Home Depot and get 5/4 inch decking planks. They're 6 inches wide, 8 foot long, and I used that for the flooring for that crow's nest. But before I did that, I put in a 2x6 inch cross member just for the flooring so it wouldn't be saggy and bouncy. I got flooring joist hangers and screwed that into place with that 2x6. With that center support in place, it was time to start cutting up the flooring. So this is weather treated flooring, and I just cut them all into the width of the of that top platform. I did have to cut that first plank a little skinnier just to fit in between those two 4x4s. So I had to measure that out, just use the speed square and measure that, and then cut it. Okay, so we cut this board short. It does have a little bit of a lip here, but just so it ends here and there. And then I got a clamp on here so it's not rocking. I cut these 2x6s as supports that we're gonna install right into there because there's nothing for these to sit on. So I need to install those now. Yeah, I feel like as an engineer, I probably over-engineer a lot of this stuff, and you know, using the drill and the screw, maybe I would have been fine just screwing things, but I didn't want to split the wood. I take my time with things, probably why this thing took so long. But yeah, just use regular decking screws. I think these were just plated or painted screws actually, so they wouldn't rust. But I don't know, if you want to go higher end, maybe use stainless screws. I was using nails as spacers to space the deck boards. I think that's the normal flooring trick. So I would screw 2 at the ends and 2 right in the middle. And that seemed to work well, and I think it's holding up great, so I would recommend doing that. So I used just like 3 nails to space the boards as I went. So that last board has to fit again in between those 4x4s, so I used a jigsaw just to cut out notches that'll go around that 4x4, and again leaving a little bit of space for some growth there. So did that, and then once that was screwed in place, the flooring was done. I did leave a little bit of gap there just because I felt it just made sense for the kids to be able to pull themselves up with it. Here I'm marking the 2x4s which I bought. They're also pressure treated just like everything else on this project, you know, so it'll last. I'm marking the centers on all these guys because this is going to be the railing, and I'm putting 1-inch holes along the whole thing. So I'm marking where I'm going to cut it off because there's a little splintering going on here. I'm marking the gap for the decking and then the 4x4, and then where I'm going to put the holes for the ropes. And I just marked my ruler, you know, I'm going 3.875 inches apart from each other to get 9 holes, I think. 9, 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 holes across. So that's what I'm doing, and it's gonna be cut right there. Yeah, so I cut the 8-foot 2x4s essentially pretty close to halfway. I think it was a little bigger than, or the railing spacing is a little less than 4 feet. So I had a little room a wiggle room that I had to cut off a little bit. But other than that, after that, it was ready for us to drill the 1-inch holes that we can put the rope through. So I got this nice bit at Home Depot. Forstner bit, 1-inch diameter. So that's what I'm going to be using for these holes. Got them all spaced out. Here we go. I've never used a Forstner bit before, but it cuts so nicely, and I think I did something like 100 holes or something, and it cut through everything like butter. So I definitely recommend that if you're doing this process. Don't use like a regular wood drill bit because I don't know, maybe it'd be okay, but I doubt it. And use a sacrificial piece of wood underneath to make it easier. Again, like I said, this was a lot of holes, so there's a lot of wood shavings everywhere. So these holes go along the whole railing because, you know, that's going to be what's going to be holding that rope and keeping the kids inside. So yeah, there's one full plank that's finished. I'm about to drill my last hole. I think it's hole number 36 or something. No, it's more than that. It's like 50 holes. 9 holes per piece. Look at all these shavings. Pretty sure I put the baby to sleep as he's watching me. Anyway, here we go. Glad this is the last one. That's it. That's all she wrote. Let's go start installing these things. I used an extra piece of 2x6, I think, as a spacer, just to screw these guys in at the same exact height everywhere. And then just drilled a little clearance hole, not clearance hole, but a little space hole, and then screwed in the pieces. You can notice that some of the 2x4s are longer than others because they overlap the ends of the other 2x4s. So that's one design choice I made. It's up to you guys what you want to do. And then I also made 1 or 2 extra long to have an extra hole, you can see right there at the end, to braid the rope through. So again, another design choice I made. You don't have to do it that way, but that's what I did. And you can see the top one doesn't have that extended hole, but just the bottom railing does. And you'll see why that's kind of important. Also, at the top here, I did put holes, but I didn't actually thread those holes because I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do at the bottom there. Anyway, that's about it. So that's all done with all the wood for this project, and the only thing left is to get that rope. I ended up buying Manilla 3/4 inch rope from Home Depot. Just got a whole rope reel of it from there. Anyway, I thought it looks pretty good, and happy with that. So Home Depot run, I think it was, yeah, like $90 for that entire 100-foot, was it 100 foot? I think it was a 100-foot roll of this stuff. I didn't need all of it, but I think I used 75 feet of it. I just unwound the whole thing. It just made things a lot easier. I marked the center of it, and then I fed the rope through the starting hole, which is that first hole. I mean, this is my design choice, but up to what you guys want to do. And fed it all the way through to the center. I think no matter what you do, you're going to want to feed it through to the center. So there's that center where I marked it. So that should be like right at the 50-foot mark. So once it was fed through, then it was time to really start the braiding. Although I did wrap it around the railing. Again, this I wasn't 100% sure how I wanted to do it. This ended up working out pretty well if you want to copy that. And then I started going for the braiding. I'm going to show you a little bit of the braiding here just in fast forward, and then I'm going to slow it down to walk you through it because it is a bit tricky until you get going. I actually built like a little mock scale one and practiced with some yarn. And yeah, so I would recommend maybe doing something like that. Also, it really helps to use like your feet as like little holds so things don't loosen. The clamps worked great too, so I would have a set of clamps and that would hold the pressure, the tension, because you want it to be really tight. So the whole way I'm going, I'm making it tight. I think when it rains, it got tighter too. Alright, so the simple rule that you have to remember is you always go outside in for the bottom railing, and then for the top railing you go inside out, so opposites, right? And then you always want to thread it behind itself. So when you go outside in, and either way, inside out, outside in, you always thread that rope behind itself. And here you don't really see that because I'm switching, and you're always switching between the two lines. But you see I go behind it, and then for the top, inside out, and then I go behind it again. So you're always going behind that rope, and that's what's creating that braid. So you're just going to want to watch it a few times because it does get tricky, and I'm always alternating. Using that clamp really helps, so I really recommend doing that. But you see I go outside in for the bottom, and then inside out for the top. Yeah, so just watch this a few times. It's tricky, and I do recommend getting that clamp. Yeah, because I'm always clamping, because you always want to work with both ends of the rope as you're going up.
just always go behind. So here I think I skipped one end. I went too far with the one end of the rope. But anyway, it's the same thing. It might look a little tricky, but you're always going outside in, or inside out for the top, and then outside in for the bottom. You see how I'm doing that? And then you just work it behind itself. So here I'm gonna tighten it up. And I just kind of want to show you what you do around the corner, or at least what I did around the corner. You know, just kind of spiraled it around itself. But when you come to the end, you just tie it off, and I would wrap some electrical tape right at the ends of the knot, and then I use some garden shears to just cut that rope. But yeah, you want to use that electrical tape so it doesn't fray at the ends there. Great, but on the outside looks fine. And yeah, I think we did a good job here. Looks pretty good. I love how it wraps around. I'll show you on the outside. Okay, we are on the crow's nest. Not too bad, eh? I think it came out pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. That's where they enter. Little staircase. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Pretty cool. Well, that's that for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, definitely subscribe for more. Definitely go back and watch that part 1, how we built the actual kayak rack, if you didn't do that already. Here are some clips of us enjoying the lake, enjoying the kayak rack, everything organized now, so much better. If you build this yourself, definitely let us know. I want to know, because it was a big effort. And yeah, I would like to see how it went for you guys. So, what do you think, Kaylee? You like it? I hope your kids enjoy it as much as mine do. So good luck, guys, and Godspeed. Catch you in the next one.